superstar. Okay, well, I want to say like maybe like a two-parter to some degree.
Mhm.
When because I remember you said that when you first came on, you said because you've been traveling since you was young. For y'all that just came into the chat, you guys, this guy's been traveling. You said since 19.
12
So
actually was my first overseas trip, but on my own since
right.
19. Yeah,
So we're talking 30 plus years. Well,
yeah.
35 plus. Um. So when you first started noticing the differences between the women overseas versus the women here, what what were those differences in particular? I want to start there first.
Yeah. So when I was 19, man, it blew my mind. So in I went to Buenos Aires, Argentina, which at the time basically had next to no black people. I mean, 0.01%. And most of the people who were darker skinned were Brazilian. Right. So everybody assumed I was Brazilian. When they found out I wasn't, then they think you're an NBA player because I'm like 6'1". I was taller than 95% of the people there. So then I did run into a couple Brazilian women who lived there, and bro, they were just so happy to see a black man, and they wanted to take me out. They didn't want me to pay. They were trying to close deals with me. Like it was like I was like, whoa, this is I'd never seen this before. And they were very nice looking women, right? So that was my first experience. And then then I stayed on Copacabana Beach for like a week while I was there, and I didn't get enough time to really kind of see what it was. But from what I was hearing from other guys, it just I already knew back then it was just way less complicated, way more where it's just like women don't have the same kind of built-in trauma or negative outlook with men, and they feel like they really appreciate, value men and need men. And then because of the financial situation, not that they're like desperate for money or whatever else, but we're talking about a lot of places that don't have social security. They don't have welfare. They don't have, these food programs. And so that changes people's dynamics, especially like the Philippines. Most of the people have a lot of kids because that is their retirement plan, that their kids will give them money when they get older. Otherwise, they're going to basically have to work until they're in the ground. So when you kind of have that mindset, and it's not so much like, I don't need a man's financial resources, it shifts things. So just the dynamic is so different. And in the Philippines, in my 6 or 7 total weeks I've been there this year, I've met a lot of women, and a lot of times it's just because it's just super, super easy. And they give true signals like nobody's business. So, I still think that men should level up. You should be on the top of your game. You should be comfortable. You should be confident. All that, right? Don't just take the shortcut because it's easier. Because then some of the like the baddest ones there, which you may not even be able to sniff over here, you still got to come with it some over there, right, to pull them. Especially nowadays, they're more and more adept. But just in general, they just have a favorable outlook for men, and just the energy is just warmer and more inviting. That's the biggest first thing that I would say.
Mm, interesting. That seems to be a common theme that I'm hearing across YouTube with other travelers as well. Austin Holloman stressed like it was like I think it was like a short, or maybe I'm wrong, but like he literally recorded a woman um, rejecting him, but he wanted
Mm-hmm.
to emphasize that she wasn't being nasty about it,
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean, kind of like coming off like she was like you were beneath her, kind of like how women would carry themselves over here when you're cold approaching.
Yeah. They
Which
would be appalled to do that over there. Like that goes against their culture. Like they're so grounded and so just like want to be warm with people. So you can talk to anybody. So you'll see in some of my videos, man. I try to show real women so everybody in there is somebody that I either went out on dates with, or they're just like female friends I hung out with, and everybody is just so warm and inviting. And because they love American culture and they want to learn more, it's just like you can just talk to anybody, and what happens from there happens. But yeah, that is very true. But the thing is, even more so, they also are more wired towards marriage, and they want to be married, and they're trained, at an early age to say a major goal is to have kids and to be married and to have a husband. So At 18, man, they're like ready to hit the street and like politic and see what it is. And you know, we have people who are professionals and go to school and do all that too, but it's much more top of mind. So when you have women who kind of have that energy versus the, you know, I'll take some male attention, but I'm not really pressed about this because maybe I don't really trust men, or maybe I'm focused on my career. It's a different dynamic.
Yeah, see, it's funny you mention that because that's something that I be trying to tell, like, especially female detractors that come on my channel, because the first thing that they want to do is talk about how, I mean, it's gotten so bad that you got these women shaming these foreign women, like they're broke and they don't got this and they don't got that. I'm like, y'all do realize that a lot of these women work. A lot of these women are actually educated.
Yeah.
I'm like, but even the ones that are, they still put getting a family and a husband first. That's the difference. And you just explain, and you literally just explained that. And this is coming from somebody who's been traveling 30 plus years, you guys. So I really don't understand why you have such negativity coming from women when it's like, have you even traveled? Like, how do you know this? Because there's people watching my channel that have traveled and they tell me constantly how, no, these women are educated, Jerome. No, these women, you know what I mean? So in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, like, is this just a shaming tactic, or are the women really just that naive that they really don't know what's going on in these other countries?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, and I've definitely hung out with attorneys, doctors, business owners, different, and then folks who are just, trying to figure it out. But man, always on point, dressed nice, well spoken, and which, by the way, going back to what you talked about before, Cebu, 90% of people I talked to had phenomenal English. Like, you could literally get by and not know anything about their language and communicate with almost everybody. Now, Philippines is way more than most places, Cebu in particular, because they have so many call centers. But even places like Colombia, people are getting better with that. It clearly helps a lot when you can speak Spanish. And even like Brazil, if you know Spanish, people can understand you. You can communicate enough. So I do tell guys, put some time in, and also just shows respect for that culture, right? They want to see that you're invested as well. But getting back to what we're talking about, I think I look at root causes, man. That's what I try to talk about on my channel, is not just look at the fruit of what people are doing. I like to come down the chute and get to the root. And the root is, Black women have been beat up. They have not been esteemed the way they want. They've had, dads leave out on them. They've had a lot of trauma, right? And they've had a culture and a world that have said that they're not as beautiful, they're less than. And so, unfortunately, they are using shaming language, because now in their mind it's triggering, because they didn't get healed from some of those things. And so when they hear brothers going overseas to find love and look at women, it's kind of like a direct, well, what's wrong with me? And it's difficult, because the truth is, really innately, nothing is wrong with you. You love you, most valuable you women in the world, when you're healthy, when you have the right mindset, when you can be aware of what men's needs are, and you're not just pushing that to the side and just thinking about what you want, and you don't have this entitled mindset. So that's a lot of when you. So I'm trying to help women to remove those things, because if women just get basic things like honoring and respecting a man, you will stand out. You will stand out, because in this country, we don't get that. In the East, that's what all that they're about. So it's just like these twists, these minor little tweaks that you can pull yourself out of the programming and the culture and the, thinking about, I'm an independent. That's your ultimate paradigm. Be interdependent. You were made to be interdependent, to work with people, to, designed to be connected. You're connected beings. So get out that matrix, and then, yeah, you can compete. But then also, like you talk about, you got to be about this fitness game. You got to be about just some other things, not the things you think we want, like that you make a lot of money or that you leveled up or all this other stuff. We're not looking for men. Those are men attributes that are highly favorable. We're looking for complements, not competitors.
Like that.